Mobility, flow, and balance. I hope you guys are ready. You're going to need everything. Okay, so that is your change. We're not going to use the stick today, but if you don't have your foam roller handy and you have your broomstick, grab it. I want to try to just keep having us handle, and Marlene, I know that your foam roller isn't as long as this one, and that's fine. All right. So even if you have a short foam roller, don't worry about it. Just grab it. And however, right, you get your hands on the side, shoulders out of the ears. This is nothing new. We're just getting our body ready to have this gentle rotation. And when I came to you yesterday with this awareness of my knee, all of the stuff being back in line, I thought, well, maybe that's just a fluke. Maybe I'm just imagining that everything about my knee feels relieved. And so this morning I was prepared to, as I went down the stairs, you know, to like brace myself, and I didn't have to. Like, it totally flexed the way that it's supposed to. So that stretch that I did in my class, get ready, keep it up, right? And then bring it around and down, all the way up, swivel, swivel, swivel. So I did this like stretch that we're gonna do today, and because I just felt like that put everything back in place, and I'm gonna keep doing it. So here we are. You're up, stopping in the middle, reset yourself if your body is worked out of its space. There is a snack, an exercise snack that I created a video on, and we're going to do it this morning. Okay, so this is the beginning phase of the start arms, and now that your shoulders should feel like they're starting to fatigue. All right, I'm going to turn to the side. You guys might also want to turn to the side. I want you to separate your feet hip width apart. And now in my video snack, I had, and when we have done this in the past, we normally have a chair sitting in front of us, and we take our legs and we bend into the chair, right? But today we're not. As soon as you push your knees forward, you should feel like you have some limiting factor at the crease, that ankle crease, and that would be a normal thing. You might actually feel, wow, there's a lot of pressure in my knees at that point too. Precisely. You might also feel like your calf is tight. That's exactly the elements that you should feel. Now, with your foam roller, your stick, your towel, whatever, not only are you going to stay in this forward push, you're going to then start sliding your hips down the imaginary wall, right? And the arms are staying long, and your foam roller is just going to glide down your thighs and then find your neutral spot with your neck, which means you're not looking up and forward. You're kind of looking down about, I would say, 3 to 4 feet in front of you, right? All right. Raise your arms, bring the arms down. Pick it up, suck your belly up, bring it down. This is shoulder extension, but included with the shoulder extension is your isometric load for your quads, right? And the primary mover, right? So the arms are moving, but the loaded part of your body are the erectors, okay? So those muscles that travel parallel to the spine. Sit back into your heels a little bit, hold right here, stand up, release the arms. Whew. Now, here we go. Your arms are just gonna keep supporting or pushing or bracing into that foam roller. I'm gonna turn to the side again. How often when you lift your leg, does your foot track up under your bum? Because that's more likely the case for the masses than it is, right? When I tell you to let your foot come out from under the knee, that might feel like you're having, it's a slightly more contrived position. Now, again, it doesn't matter how long your foam roller is, mobility, flow, and balance. I'm getting ready to put you into single leg stance. Get ready, lock and load. So now the arms as they're pressing into the foam roller, right? Whether it's palms or just your wrists, push down on your lifted leg. Oh, squeeze the bun on your stance leg. Draw your shoulders out of your ears. Is this too much to start with too soon? Release. Whew. Here you go. Leg number 2. Pull it up, pull it up, pull it up. Stabilize yourself. Shoulders stand really rooted firm. The leg that you're standing on, make sure it's nice and straight. Okay. Start driving the foam into that lifted thigh, brace the body, squeeze the bun, shoulders keep sliding down, pull the back of the head back, release and relax. Good. Set the foam roller off to the side. Might you have your ball handy? How's about a little sit? Do you need to put your mat down? I kind of think we do, sorry. Mat, just to keep our feet from having to work too hard, right? To stay positioned. Sit on it. Walk yourself out. Hollow out the middle. You're in C curve. Abs are loaded. Walk yourself forward. You can keep your head up, right? If you feel like you need to wrap a hand around your head, then do to support it and push yourself back. Chin is tucked, right? Walk yourself up. The oil that I put on my feet, maybe not such a good idea. This is really kind of out there, but I've always enjoyed cleaning. It's kind of like my OCD because I love putting things better than they were, pull back. And so when I had my first car, pull yourself up, sit up tall, get into C curve. What brought this into my mind is the slick, right? My feet actually have some lotion and oil on the bottom of them. So even though I have my mat down, it's not really helping me. For some reason, I was cleaning my car and I either armor-alled my steering wheel or I armor-alled my foot, the gas and brake pedal. I don't remember which one. I just remember it wasn't a good idea. And that was a lesson learned that I thought, oh, note to self, that's not a product to use on that part of the car. You're just walking out, walking back. So if your feet are having a hard time getting traction, that actually makes your workload a little bit more. Settle into it, push back for this next one. All right. Spine should be nice and loose. Can we get into our low back strengthening, right? You're going to stay seated. We're going to get squared up. There's something that I do with the ball, and it may just be my OCD, but does your ball have lines on it anywhere? Is there any reference? So many balls that I've seen actually do have these little lines. And for me, it just becomes a reference point. I like to feel like I'm sitting on the ball with the lines going straight. So you do what you're going to do, but that's, if you see me adjusting the ball, it's for that reason. Okay, here we go. Extend the leg, extend the leg. How wiggly are you when you pick up the foot, right? Chances are if you teach your body how to do the movement, I've just let myself go to really bad form. I've taken my center body. I'm not caring about it. The calf that comes down, that's staying attached to the ball, but all of that is wrong. All of that is wrong, and I'm still able to do the movement, right? So this is why the directions are really important. Try not to let the calf anchor the ball. Keep your foot far enough away, and you have the control at your hips. If you stop for a moment, let the ball glide towards your calves, okay? Do that. And then put your body in S curve. You will feel the hips direct the ball back where it's supposed to be. That's where it's supposed to be. And then start the movement again. So every time you pick up your foot, right? If the ball is pressing into the calf, chances are you're in C curve. So here we go. Push, take and hold one leg out. Can you take the other arm? I don't know. Why can't we? Maybe you're like, oh, I was good until I added my arm in. Maybe you shorten your lever, right? Can you keep that leg up nice and high, foot flexed, belly to spine, S curve, right? Which means that your hips are pushing back as if you were going to raise yourself up off the ball. Release, relax, other side, stick and hold. If you can't get to this holding position, then there's no sense in trying to add the arm, right? But if you're here, you're loaded, you're in S, your abs are in, the chin is pulled back, the leg is as straight as you can get it, right? Are you in full circle? Ooh, we got thunder rolling out there. So I was supposed to play pickleball this morning with a couple of ladies, and I somehow think that because I don't play indoors, that that's going to be ruled out. Now, can you release? Go back to leg number one, right? What is the ball doing? Push back, sit up like you're getting ready to stand up. Shorten the lever on the opposite arm to the lifted leg so you're in circles. When this arm starts making a beeline back, can you take the other arm and just slide it along your foot or the leg towards your foot, turning the head? Oh my goodness, are you still holding on to the good control? Release and relax. Other side. We are only limited by our imagination. There is not a bad move. There's just moves that the body hasn't been conditioned to do, right? So you're used to doing the leg raise and you're used to doing the arm circle, but you're not used to doing them at the same time. What's your stability, right? Even with me as I'm talking, when I talk, I'm talking, so I'm not able to really collect my thoughts and hone in. And that's why a lot of times I actually fall out of the move, is because my focus is animated, right? So raise the elbow, push it back, slide the other arm forward. That's the hard part. Can you do it? Turning of the head, right? Release and relax. I may not have completed that pretty, but I did the best. Belly on the ball. Stretch your parts. Anchor your toes firmly, right? So your legs are going to be feet at least hip width. I'm using the edge of my mat kind of as a gauge so that my legs are nice and wide. Push your elbows into the ball just to get your trunk lifted a little bit. Pull the derriere into the active contraction, because once we take our arms from the ball, the chest is going to want to come down, and rightfully so, right? So fingertips to the floor, reset your tension line. The neck is long, and maybe you're looking forward because you're looking at the screen, wondering what I'm getting ready to do, which is totally normal. But at some point, we're going to slide the shoulders out of the ears. We're going to put the neck in neutral. And I want you to give me this alternating arm into forward reach. Squeeze the kneecaps. Try not to let your body slide to the point where your chin and chest are on the ball. You want your belly and the hip area on the ball because your hips are the driver. And now, this move, if you're like, I can't keep my feet from sliding, then maybe you push your legs into your sofa, right? Maybe you can find your chair to drive your feet into so that you're braced. This is a movement when I'm in the gym. We put our feet against the wall and we use that wall, right? Here we go. This is a single arm version of what we did, right? Shoulder extension when we first started with our foam roller. Now the hands come down, relax this chest, walk yourself forward, walking to the point where you can get the legs up. Stretch the legs, pointed toes, and give me stiff leg kicks. Okay, your arms are your pillars of strength, so they're right under the shoulders. And even if your wrists are tight, right, do as many seconds of this loaded position as you can, knowing that you can always alter your hand position into knuckles down, palms turned into each other, right? So when I speak to my mom about exercises and whatnot, there's a lot of things that I demonstrate. And she's like, oh, I can't do that one because my wrist can't take the load. And I'm like, well, I said, but you can do it on your knuckles. Now relax the legs, walk yourself back, touch down. How are you going to get up? Right, nice and easy. Do the very best you can, gently on the body. Put that off to the side. But the thing about loading the tops of your, your knuckles, your hands, is that's uncomfortable also. So if your hand can't handle being flexed like that, right, because the wrist lacks the flexibility, it's just because we can go into knuckle down, a lot of people don't feel like their wrists are strong enough to hold them in that stiff position, but that takes time. Change, grab it, put it down. There's a move that I gave yesterday. At least I think it was yesterday. It could have been Monday, but I actually think it was yesterday, where I had you in a fairly close, so I've scattered my change. It's in a fairly tight little, grouping there. And I'm trying to put myself kind of centered behind the mass, right? And I'm going to go into as close to my heel to toe position as I can. If the balance aspect of this throws you, then your front leg is going to just step off a little bit and that will help. But what we did in class the other day was we came off the trailing heel, so the back leg, toes loaded, and you're executing a squat. Why would we be coming down, picking up change, come down? What's it doing to the knees and the hips? It's giving your body a stretch line. How low can you go, right? That is a you thing. You get to stop wherever, right? Come up. Let's do it again. Maybe you have less leg bend. You draw the knees together. Your body has more forward fold. Okay. And then that's hamstring work. But just, you're going to do 10. Hopefully that's what you have. So either squat. When you squat, I just went to try to pick up two pieces, right? One piece at a time. Or hinge, right? The trailing heel is off the floor, but the trailing heel is off the floor and the knees are together. So squatting, 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 because the squatting with the knees together actually keeps the knees tracking in a pretty clean line, right? And now I'm alternating between my little hip hinge and my squat. All the while, this is like standing on that little tightrope, right? It's balance. Hip hinge, hamstring, squat, last one, unless you sped through it. And then put them back down and switch the feet, right? You decide. How far away do you want to be from it? Okay. So it's so funny. It has to be this way. Don't let me confuse you. All right. Come off the rear heel. All right. Let your front leg be the dominant. Squeeze the knees. Take it, take it, take it. How low can you go? All right. Pull it up. I'm going to alternate between the two, a little hip hinge and a little squat. The hip hinge is actually, in my opinion, the harder of the two to maintain your really good form. And with your hip hinge, though, the feeling along the hamstring, right? So with the hip hinge, because you're pulling your knees together, that hamstring sensation with the knees together might be a very weird feeling. And if you get yourself too far away from your coins, you just have to adjust your legs. You could stay down. What if you stayed down and you just held your squat? Try it. If you have a couple more pieces down, stay down. You're holding your squat and you're getting your change, right? Stand up. The longer you hold it, that should be your pieces. Release and relax. We're going to put these back in for our foot strengthening in a moment. So the longer you held the squat, the more work there is. Mobility, flow, and balance. We're going to get into another balance move. Okay. So this is our one leg dominant. If you need your chair, your wall, whatever, if you're already struggling with a little bit of the balance concepts, right? It's not the concept that you struggle with. It's the doing it, right? With confidence. Here we go. So if you're standing in the clock, right? You're hitting the 12, 3, 6, or it's right, 12, 9, 6, right? Now, when you come to hit the back 6, bend your front leg and see if you can go beyond. That's the hard part. Tell me that's not a massive stretch right there. Pull yourself up. Woo, back to the front. Here we go. Everything might be going fine right there. And then when you go to do this partial single leg squat and you slide, right? Pull up. Do one more. Touch, touch. This is a drill right there. And if I knew you all had these little training cones, we would put these little cones down, okay? And you would have a visual reference for where you want your foot to precisely go, right? So as you get ready to go to the back one, try not to let the knee collapse. Load the outside edge of the foot, twist the knee, right? Without turning the toe, drive the booty back. The leg is going to reach for it and pull yourself up. Touch, touch, reach. You counterbalancing your leg movement by doing this arm like reach will help you get your leg further than if your hands were just hanging. Right, here we go. Push, tap, squat, drive it. Do one more. Push. Here we go. This is the one that you're working for right there. And release and relax. Grab your coins. I want you to think about your toes picking up your change, right? And then you deciding, are you just going to drop your change in a pile, or are you going to then transfer the change from your toe to your hand? And I would love to have this as a moving, right? You step in, grab it. This is like full on. going into your pigeon stretch, right? Step back, and now the other leg leads, right? Get ready, pick it up. If you've put yourself too far away from your change, then adjust your step in and step out. If you know you need your chair, grab it. Step back, step in and grab. You can go slower, you can go faster. I go really slow right here because the stretch just feels good. Step back, step in, pause, right? And that's why we use different denominations of coin, because the smaller the piece of change is, the harder the toes work to pick it up. I saw this gadget, step back, step in and change, okay? So immediately when I saw this gadget, it made me think of that kitchen tool, like that mandolin. I think that's what it's called, that thing that slices, okay? So that's kind of like what it looked like. It was this tray that had this lever on it, and you put your foot on the tray and your toes grabbed the lever, and it was done by this little elastic resistor band. And as your toes pulled the lever, right, it was stretching your, strengthening your arch. And I thought that's exactly what we're doing when we pick up the change, right? So we have just manufactured a modification. Instead of needing a gadget, we're just using change. If you have gotten through your change and you're just yawning now because I'm going super slow, go grab your ball, right? We're going to do something with it. I'm going to finish my set. I've got 2 more pieces. Though I could stand in place and just pick up the other 2 pieces with my foot, it's a process. Step back, step forward. Last piece, I'm going to have to really work for it. And you need your ball. So there was I made this little video that I put on YouTube. I made it to be a snack, except I don't think I put it under the snack category because I've also have a designation for ball work. And so it went under the ball work. There's a little piece of wall by my door that I'm going to go to. If you might have to go and close a door, or if you don't have a wall, I have a column that I could work from, but then you guys can't see what I'm doing. So though I'm going to be way over here, I'm going to give you very specific directions. So if you have a door and you don't have wall space, go and close the door, right? And I want you to stand so that your ball is touching your wall or your door. And I want you to just get your feet hip width apart. And I want you to let the ball extend with your fingertips touching the ball. Let the arms extend down to their full extension. And you only need enough space between your body and the ball. So that's how vertical you need to be. And now you're going to just let your fingertips kind of walk the ball up. And right about when the hands get about chest high, your hands swivel around. So then now your palms are on the ball. And then you keep walking the ball up the wall. The intention is to get the ball off the wall with your ball reaching for the ceiling, your buns tight, and your arms pulled back in line so that your biceps and your ears line up, all the while your buns are tight, your triceps are active, and your abs are pulled in. And now as you put the ball back on the wall, try not to let your middle body go with it. The ball touches the wall, the elbows soften, you're walking the ball down. You turn the hands so that the ball goes all the way down and the fingertips are back to holding the ball. Fingertips just kind of curl the ball up, and then palm, 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 walk it up. Take the ball from the wall, reach for the ceiling, stand tall, give me your heel lift. Get off the heel, squeeze the buns. The heels come down, the ball to the wall, and down you go. How do we keep advancing this? Well, I'm going to tell you. When your arms get down, stop. I want you to shift your weight to one foot, see if you can get into single leg stance and do the movement. The fingertips walk the ball up to about chest high, and then the hands, patty cake, walk the ball up. Before your arms get to full extension, you need to start manipulating the hands around the balls so that you can pull the ball off the wall, lengthen the arms, stand really firm, squeeze the buns, ball to the wall. As the ball comes down, start transitioning your weight to the other foot, right? Get into your loaded, full reaching arms down, buns tight, single leg stance, fingertips curling the ball up, palms take the ball, and then off the wall, lengthen the arms, squeeze your buns, ball to the wall. That's it. Come back to seated on the ball. So even though I was way away from your sight line, so I don't know what part of that might have been the hardest thing, but I know balancing on single leg while you take the ball up and then move the arms and walk it back down generally tends to be what knocks people out of the move. So I hope you found that somewhat like intriguing, that there were aspects that you were doing correctly and then aspects that maybe needed a little bit of work. Can we get into our bridge? So walking it out. With the bridge, you want head, all right, neck, and your upper back on the ball. And then if your feet have gone too far out in front of you, your angle doesn't look clean. So we want the heels to rest under the knees. And as you lower your hips, I always love to start this movement with the hips down, because if with the hips down, your head and shoulders aren't in a comfortable spot, then your body probably isn't in the right spot to start with. So let this be like your guide. Push the head into the ball, gently tuck the chin, go into C curve. So before we hip thrust, we want to get pelvic tilt, squeeze the buns, abs are in, chin to chest, and then bring the hips up. Did your knees float out to the sides when you lifted your hips? Try to make those legs track. And now as you bring the body back down, try to maintain pelvic tilt. Reset, right? Up, 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 up. If you want to make this movement harder, walk your feet together a little bit closer, lowering through the hips, maintaining C curve. It's when your body comes down that the hips want to float to S. You're going to try to not do that. So stay in pelvic tilt so the glutes are loaded, pushing heels into the floor, drive the hips up. Nice. And down. One of the things that I see when I work one-on-one with clients and we do this movement is I see them rock the ball away from their feet as they come up. And then when they lower their body back down, the ball draws closer. You do not want your ball to be rolling forward and back. Your body lifts, the ball stays put, right? So belly to spine, ribs are anchored down, peel the hips up, up, up. You should be feeling like your quads are like getting an odd, strange stretch, and the buns are doing the work. Navel to spine, lower through the vertebrae, reset pelvic tilt deeper, pull the hips up, hold them up. Now is when I want you to push yourself back, chin right to chest, head is now off the ball, and walk yourself back to your upright sit. This is where your abs get to work right here. If you barely pull your feet back, your feet are going to slide. The pulling your leg back is fairly aggressive, nice and tight. Push into the ball. We're going to turn this into the next ab exercise. Okay. So if you will offset your feet, one is tucked back fairly tight and the other one is kind of elongated, like I'll switch the legs out so you can see them better. Okay. So the elongated one is almost like we're going into a hamstring stretch and the other one's tucked back. But we're going to practice the roll. So in this position, we're in S and we're going to go to C curve and we're going to lean back and we're going to let our ball move toward this tightly bent leg. The legs stay offset just like that, and then bear down into the feet and pull yourself back up. C curve, chin to chest. You've got one fixed leg nice and tightly bent. The other one bends because the ball has rolled. Push back. Do it again. Chin to chest, C curve, roll, roll, roll. Push back, switch legs. There we go. One is tightly bent, one is extended. S to C, and then the straight leg bends, right? Because that's what allows the ball to roll towards this other leg. Push into the floor with the legs and sit up. Isn't this just a fascinating way to do abs, curl? And not only that, it gets you a little more familiar with the ball and a stick point of most of our transition moves. Push. You do not have to come up and down, get into C curve. If you like the feeling of those muscles hard at work, then you just stay put. And you're like, well, for how long? Long enough for you to feel the muscle fatigue where it starts like trembling on its own. Push up. That's going to be a different threshold for each person. Do one more, right? C curve, belly to spine, chin draws, right? You just get to lean back. Your amount of lean back has to do with your strength, right? So the less you lean back, the less load. The more you lean back, the more load. It's fascinating, right? Squeeze your buns. Pull up. Whew. Release and relax. Grabbing your chair. Maybe a little swig of water. My triceps from yesterday's overhead extensions are kicked up into, they feel like they did something yesterday. And I think we only did 12 to 15 reps, but that those 8-pound dumbbells made my triceps work hard yesterday. So I made some really good juice for Rich last night. He doesn't drink it at night. He drinks it in the morning. Maybe you need your pillow, right? Come to side sit. The juice had cabbage. It sounds horrible, but I have to tell you, it's quite tasty. Cabbage, celery, apple, parsley, cucumber. I used red kale leaves, which was neat. Here we go. You're already starting your little stretch over here on your QL. I used beet and then some beet leaves. So the juicing, you're just holding your stretch. How does your leg feel? Is this back leg straight? Is your front leg straight? Which one? Do you have to, can you keep them both bent? Right? You're just leaning away, opening up the beginning phase of our QL stretches, okay? Now, take bottom leg, see where your top leg is? Hopefully it's bent. The bottom leg, right? You're gonna situate your knees, one right on top of the other. Your pillow isn't for this stretch. It's just to make sure that you got it down to the floor. All right. We're going to do two versions of the stretch, this one, and then when we're on our elbow in a straight line setup. Okay, so your hand, where's your hand? If you had a line on the floor, your hip and your hand would be on the same line. Are your hips kind of rocking back where your knees don't want to touch the floor? Let's drive the knees down, right? And then push into the hand, creating the length. And now look at your high knee. Is that hip sliding back so that your knee isn't truly stacked? I want you to drive the hip forward, right? Push the hand into the floor. As soon as this knee tracks and slides just beyond the bottom knee, that's when you should feel the most intense part of your stretch through the underside and the back side of that hip, which is your QL. Push into the floor, give yourself your best posture. Are you in excessive S, or can you do a smidgen of your abdominal draw in, shoulders out of the ears, right? The front knee is definitely in a forward slide, holding for 5. The stretch should feel oddly intense. 3, 2, and now let the top knee slide back so that everything relaxes. Next phase, come onto your elbow. This is the one you're used to, okay? We're going to pull the knees back so the knees get in line with the hip and the elbow, right? Flexing the feet. The legs are tightly bent. Zip and tuck, shoulders, all of the shoulders, chin tuck, zipping. And then if you want more, swivel the hand, loading the hand, and then going back into your checklist of shoulders out of the ear. This is so much more intense to be on this straight line. Here we go. Keep pushing away from the floor. Ooh, holding for 5, 4, 3, 2, release, relax. Offset legs, ease out of it, gentle, gentle, gentle. And since we're right here, let's go into our 90-90 sit. When I do my practice out on the pool deck, right, I have a whole little process of things and how I use my mat. So I'm going to teach you that same thing. The mat becomes this great reference for angles. So I want to get my legs to 2 90-degree bends, okay? So I'm using my hip along one edge. I pull my knee to it. I'm able to get that. You can tell. The thing is you can tell from your toes to your heel, right? If it's an angle or it's a nice, clean, slice straight line. So look from front leg to trailing leg. Try to get your limbs tracking so that things look like you're nice and sharp angles, okay? Push your trunk up. You're going to move this support hand so that it helps guide you into this lifted chin up, chest up, shoulders out of the ears. Your body is squared up to this front leg, and then you're just allowing yourself to come forward. And for me, I take this free hand and I grab hold of my foot, and I'm trying to pull myself towards my foot while I'm going forward. Ooh, shoulders back. Don't let the head come down. You're lengthening through it's like your hip hinge, okay? And now For me, every time I do this with my left leg forward, I get a series of adjustments down my spine. The adjustments are taking place kind of they're called the facets, okay? So this is specifically a stretch that addresses like we'll say SI joint. Sometimes people get their SI joints out of whack, and this is that stretch that will often provide great relief to that spot. And release. Now, we're going to go to leg number or side number 2. Side number 2 is going to have the legs floating this direction. If you've been mirroring me, then you're starting here and we're just doing that little tip lean, right, to address the QL. How much bracing does this hand need to help you push, or do you have your little pillow handy? One side might present a whole different option. If you can't get yourself comfortable in the side sit for whatever reason, shim up that hip. It really does help. When you put that support under you, it provides this extra little stretch for the adductor. There's some part of your body that's holding up the sit position, and chances are it's the adductor on this trailing leg. Okay, can you lean to it? Release. Now, we're going to go into the official QL stretch. So I'm going to take my pillow out from under me. We're moving bottom leg. Bottom leg is going to stack, right? The legs are got a nice angle to them, right? So the hips are kind of pulled back. If you, again, we're using your mat for reference, the hips are along the back line, the knees are angled towards the front edge of the mat. The hand comes in line with the hip, and then all we're doing is pushing ourselves up, and the top hip, right? Knees to the floor, and the top hip is going to drive that knee just beyond the bottom knee, and then reset this good tension to your body. Shoulders out of the ears, a smidgen of your pelvic tilt. Okay. Neck is releasing. So the juice, I only make enough for 2 days because unlike store-bought juice, it really does have a shelf life. And I don't think with this is like a it's not cold press, release, come down to the next phase. I can't remember the term that what Rich's machine does, right? So it extracts the pulp and then leaves you with the juice, right? Swivel, get your body in propped up position. If you can't swivel the arm because of the rotator cuff or the shoulder, and this is enough, then you just keep working on your pelvic tilting, your hard flexed feet, that really good line, okay? But I want a little bit more, so I'm going to load my hand and reset all of the cues. Shoulder out of the ear, retracted scaps. All right. So we don't just push down. We need to lengthen through that elbow push. The neck pulls back. Oh, it is just, I don't want to use the word wicked, but some of these stretches that are so intense, if there is not a degree of intensity for you, I would just say that you're probably not in the right position. The more you zip up and push from that hand, it creates this like traction right across that hip and abdominal wall area. Come down, think 90-90, okay? So pull the bottom leg forward, push up. And again, I'm now going to use my mat as my reference for 90-90, okay? But I'm going to turn myself I'm going to turn myself so that I make sure I keep the correct leg forward. All right. There we go. Hip to the edge, knee to the edge, bring the other leg in line. So when you start feeling your body and you can identify that certain parts of you are tighter on one side than the other, for me, that's precisely what I have going on this side. Like, I absolutely can do the stretch, but I need this hand to really be my bolster to keep my body aligned. So when it comes to bracing and assisting, like, be okay with as much as your body needs. Push yourself towards your legs. We are going to not only push to the legs, we're going to come forward in the push. So this outside support arm, you have to keep adjusting where its brace point is to help you come forward. Legs are hard in flex mode, right? Try to not only come forward, try to slide your trunk so that you're moving towards the foot as you're coming forward. Shoulders out of the ears. So the great thing about this stretch, and maybe you're getting it in a whole different area, but this stretch is very specific to the hamstring, the attachment point of the hamstring on your front leg. And so often, come out of it, release, relax. So often you won't feel it in the hamstring. You'll feel it kind of pull up through this back of the hip line, and that's a positive thing, right? So I'm just going to leave my pillow down. Going to come down, head to the pillow, knees to chest. Take a moment, get everything lined up. A little of the side to side rocking of the hips. You know how I love to use my arms as these little bumpers, right? So the elbows are staying on the floor. My feet are going to be a little bit higher than my knee line, and my hands just receive the knee and then help push the knee the other direction. So the elbows never have to lift off the floor. Come back up, stop in the middle. One knee pulls in, push the other leg down. And now, the other leg, though it's down, it's not going to stay hard pushing, right? You're going to just grab hold of that knee, pull the knee in, and if the hip rocks and that extended leg come with you, that's good. Okay, we're not forcing the down. You're just pulling and pushing, pulling. You're not even pushing. It pushes away just because you stop pulling, right? Pull. Do one more and switch sides. All right, tuck it in. Give it a go. Ah. Do one more. And now go back to leg number one. The hands go behind the knee, and this is going to be our little kick up to the ceiling. And what I want you to do is, as you kick the leg up, flex the foot. Oh, push the heel up. So now you're going to change the position. As you go up, I want you to strike up with the toes pointed, flex the foot, bring it down. Point the toes, strike up, flex and down. Alexa just decided to start talking. And she now is playing music. I need to tell her to stop because she's annoying. Oh my goodness. Do one more. Push it up. Release, relax. Other side. I do find Alexa to be really quite interesting but she also annoys me. So you guys probably can't hear the music, but it's so distracting. So sorry, I got distracted. Okay, do flex foot, push it up. She's like playing Kid Rock or something, right? Flex the foot, push it up. Flex the foot, push it up. Flex, push, hold. All right, so now go pointed toe, strike, flex, and down. Strike, flex, and down. So the people, my friends that I had lunch with, they were wondering why I only had, 100 subscribers. Release and relax, roll over. We're going to go into Cobra. And then I went into the story about why I hadn't, I never knew that I was actually going to need to grow my YouTube base or my web page base. Because I never could have predicted that life and training would have come to this. And so anyway, one of my friends said, well, you need to run a competition. He said, you need to look at your friends that you have on Facebook and pick the ones that have the highest number of following. And he said, send them a message and like create a promotion. He didn't say promotion. He said, create a contest where they win something if the one that's able to get the most subscribers from their friend page after so much time, they win something. And I thought, I mean, that's brilliant, but like, it's a full-time job, you guys. Cobra, push up into Cobra, right? Where are your hands? Where do they need to be? Where's your comfortable spot? She's still talking. Shoulders out of the ears. So I tried to tell them that they're like, can't you send out like a mass email to your friends? And I said, come down. I said, perhaps you guys don't know this about my emails, but most of my emails end up in people's junk. And those are the people who are actually on, like, we have exchanged emails. They're like in my contacts and I'm in their contacts, and still my stuff ends up in their spam and junk file. I said, so I don't know that I would have much success with a mass email out. Shoulders out of the ears, squeeze your buns, push up. The neck is relaxed, right? There's something about this stretch that I hope feels good to you. There's a multiple things for me that feel good, but having your alignment, right? The alignment of having your elbows kind of rolled in so that you can have this position of control through the shoulder girdle is really crucial to your ability to be comfortable here. The stretch along the abdominal wall is fabulous. If you're not getting that stretch along the ab line, then pull your hands back a little bit, but not if then your neck gets swallowed up by your shoulders, right? And now elbows down, release out of it. Whew. I want you decide, we're done. I just gonna get you up. You decide how you wanna get up. I'm changing my direction of how I would normally sit up because I'm trying to not always do the movements same way, right? So just be graceful on your exit strategy. Namaste. I hope you guys have a great day. And there's always more to the story next time.